In this video, I will be recreating my favorite movie stills with Legos, and the first movie still I will recreate is from one battle after another when Pat is using a payphone. The first thing I did before opening Bricklink Studio was watch a few tutorials, because I did not want to go in blind. But if I'm being honest, the videos weren't that helpful. Then I built a wall, which was the easy part, and I tried to see if Studio had a flannel I could use for Pat. It didn't look the greatest, so instead I started working on the payphone. Finding the parts to use was kinda tedious, but once I did, putting the payphone together was pretty simple. I figured out there's a software called Parts Designer that you can use to make custom pieces. I used it to make Pat's flannel, which was just crossing black lines and adding a blue-gray shirt. I also made Pat's face, and I tried to stick to LEGO's official color palette that I found online. After putting Pat together, I gave Pat the phone. Then I realized I forgot his facial hair, so I added that in, and I made his beard using halftones, which I noticed a lot of LEGO faces with beards also use. Next, I worked on making the payphone act to look like a payphone, and I low-key reached a flow state when making the art for the box. Lastly, I positioned all the pieces in their correct spots, and this is the final render. I am pretty happy with how this turned out, and I tried my best to make the colorization as similar to the original screen grab as I could. I wish Legos were more flexible so I could have Pat pointing at himself to truly show his anguish, but other than that, I think these look pretty similar. For my first time ever 3D modeling Legos, this wasn't as hard as I expected it to be. For the next movie still, I chose the scene from Avengers Age of Ultron where Vision and Ultron are having their final conversation after the Battle of Sokovia. I know people like to hate on this movie, but I think this scene is very powerful and well acted. James Spader did an amazing Ultron voice, and Paul Bettany did pretty good as Vision too. I started with the background first because it seemed like it was the easiest thing to do. I haphazardly placed a bunch of different types of plants around on two 16x16 plates. I really had no plan going into this, I just wanted to fill as much space as I could. Then I made a tree by randomly stacking pieces on top of each other. This was mostly trial and error. After finishing the tree, I added a placeholder minifig so I could place the trees and shrubs in their correct spots and make sure the render makes sense. Throughout modeling, I kept adding more plates with more bushes and shrubs because I wanted this to have as much depth as possible. For the other trees, I just made really long poles, and I think they did their job. After I got the basic configuration of the background, I started working on Vision and Ultron. This was the part I dreaded most because I thought I would have to design their minifigs completely from scratch, but luckily I found a picture of both their official models that I could trace. After putting Vision and Ultron together, I made the trees look like they have leaves by chaining together Lego leaves hanging from one of the stick trees. I added studs and plants to the foreground to make the scene look fuller, and I also removed Ultron's hand to make the still as accurate as possible, and this is the final render. I am very happy with how this turned out, and similar to the Pat render, I tried to match the colorization. I absolutely love how Vision and Ultron look, and I think the scene is definitely recognizable. I had a lot of fun doing this, and I might do it again with animation, but I don't know.